Hey guys, welcome to the weekly question video. If you would like to leave us a question, all the information on how to do that is down below, as well as a link to our Patreon if you want to support us further. This week's question is, do you have a ritual or a routine pre-punishment? And yes, we do. I believe that we've talked about it before. I can't remember if we've talked about it on like the main podcast, if we've done a question that was similar, or if this is something that we've shared on Patreon. We make so much content, guys. It is hard to keep track of what we said where. So forgive me if any of this is a repeat of information, but we're going to go through it. So when a punishment is earned, typically I know when I've earned a punishment. Either I've broken a rule that is a well-established rule, or I've said something disrespectful that I know crossed a line, I've become argumentative, any of those things, or I made a mistake that I know was just a neglect of my responsibilities. And so I pretty much know before Coda says the words that I know that I'm in for a punishment when I do certain things. But for the sake of communication, Coda will usually let me know that we will have a punishment. Because of our schedules, punishments typically don't happen right away. I would love if we were able to take care of things right away, wipe the slate, and move on with our day. Unfortunately, we just don't have the ability to do that. And so when Coda communicates to me that I've earned a punishment, typically I have to wait till the evening or the end of our day. And so he will let me know you're going to have a punishment later. And at that point, I've gotten really good, because this is our routine, because our schedules don't allow us to just get things taken care of. I've gotten really good about kind of putting it out of my mind. I know that it's coming, I know that I've earned it, I know why, but there's no use in dwelling on it, there's no use in lamenting over it, because that's only going to lead to more carelessness throughout my day. I still have responsibilities that I need to take care of, I still have rules that I need to follow, and so if I'm lamenting over a looming punishment, it's not going to help me be productive throughout my day. And so I've gotten really good about kind of pushing that to the back of my mind. I know it's coming, I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm not sitting and just kind of stewing over it either. So after we have our evening meal, after we've gone through part of our evening routine, and it is time that punishment is going to happen, because typically it's been a while since the infraction happened, Coda will take some time, it'll take about 15 minutes, to come out, kind of clear his head, think about why he's punishing me, put together the points that he wants to cover in his lecture, decide what the punishment's going to look like, what implements are going to be used, the severity of the punishment, what's fair according to the mistake or behavior that was exhibited. And so he will do all that in that time. During that time, before he comes to this space, he will tell me that he's going to go prepare for my punishment, and he will tell me that he wants me to write an apology. The apology, like writing the apology, is our version of a pre-spanking corner time. What we found for me is that pre-spanking corner time wasn't really offering me the opportunity to reflect and to get into the right headspace. I'm really good at being bored. I'm really, really good about letting my mind kind of wander and kind of entertaining myself. So, when we were using corner time, I would go to the corner and my mind would just wander. I would not be focused on what was about to happen or why. And so it was really not benefiting me to have that corner time. And so what we found that is more beneficial is that Coda will tell me that he wants me to write an apology. That requires me to not only sit down and write this out, but focus on what I did, why it was wrong, how detrimental that behavior or intention behind an action, how detrimental that is to my personal growth, the health of our relationship. And so that really does a really good job of getting me to focus on what I did, what's about to happen, and why. And in that apology, not only do I apologize, but I also tell Coda what I should have done instead and what I will do in the future to avoid making that same mistake. And so it's really, really beneficial for me to write through and write out an apology. Sometimes Coda will tell me it doesn't have to be long, and that typically still ends up being about 2 paragraphs of 4 to 5 sentences each. Sometimes he'll tell me, I really want you to think through this, and that is a cue into me that this needs to be like 3 or 4 paragraphs, and that's for more serious behaviors and infractions. Even for things that are a mistake, even for things that I didn't mean to do, he still has me write out this apology because it's really good for me to think through my carelessness and to think through, okay, I didn't mean to do this, but I understand how this mistake could have really derailed my day or set back some progress that we've been trying to make. And so it's really good for me to think through those things. So he has me write out an apology. He'll come out and think through what he needs to think through. So that is really like the ritualistic aspect of what we do. Now, on a practical sense, I always use the restroom before a spanking. It just helps to, make sure that I don't have any like physical needs to ask Coda to pause what we're doing. Especially since the space that we use for punishment is our detached studio from our house, and we don't have a bathroom out here. So I always make sure that I have everything taken care of in that area before we start a spanking. Beyond that, I make sure that I have some water and that we have Kleenex available because those are just things that we need on a practical sense. And so that is just part of like my pre-punishment checklist, is to make sure that we have everything we need in the space that we need it. Typically I try to do that before I write the apology so that I can sit down, write the apology, be in the right headspace, and go right from being in that headspace of writing out that apology to coming into our space so that I can maintain that headspace to receive my punishment well. Coda will read my apology before we get started. He gives a lecture before we get started, and then he also lectures throughout the spanking itself. And so that is like our pre-punishment routine. It works really well for us. It really does a good job of preparing me to receive the punishment, preparing Coda to give the punishment, and it's led to very effective outcomes. So that really details our pre-punishment routine. I hope that gives some insight into what we do. Of course, what we do is not going to necessarily mirror what anyone else does, but it's always interesting to hear what other people are doing and what works for them. And hopefully you get some ideas along the way. So anyway, comments, questions in the comment section, always appreciated. and we will talk to you guys next time.